Sommer. We'll see if that comes into play later on. But for now, it is FaZe positioning for a crossfire around the connected position. Again, Shroud is still in the Palace area. And there he is. Nico exposed.
And Automatic sneaking into a very forward position. Really looking for an opener, and it's Rain's taken down, but the information is there. We get the trade coming in from Shroud. Really nice shot coming in from Shroud, actually, from the Palace position. Now it's Ali trying to hold things down. Sees the cross, puts on some pressure there. And now things get a bit easier. Carrigan able to unlock middle, and that's where he's going to come from. Shroud absolutely devastating this round with this deagle of his. Carrigan looking for the clutch again. Carrigan's been pretty huge so far in this very short Mirage game that we've had. Goes in for the first entry, finds it with the AK-47. Just Shroud left, already with 3 kills. Can he make it 4? He has to make it 4 to save the round. And Carrigan knows he can just go for the hold here, but he's actually going to go. Oh my God, are you serious? Absolutely disgusting stuff there from Shroud with the deagle. Incredible round.
Today, we're talking about number 25 on Twitch's payout list, or better yet known as Shroud, the Canadian FPS player who must be a government experiment based on how good his aim is. As most streamers, if not all streamers on the platform, who have reached this level of success, they've been a gamer their whole lives because they've loved gaming since they were a child. Shroud himself always had a console on him. He always played games. He was always on something. He was building PCs with his father, or he was playing on some console, and he was striving to be the master of the games that he played. And I would say that he has definitely mastered most of the games he played. He is the chosen one.
I was like, I just learned how to walk. Okay, so I'm not gonna remember this. I learned how to walk, and the first thing I did was run. So I ran straight into the corner of a wall with my forehead. And that's how I actually have a scar on my forehead. And that's how I got a scar on my forehead.
Expecto Patronum!
As growing up, this came with many downsides and things like bad grades from playing so much, especially when it came to his high school life. But even throughout all of this, he had a very supportive father.
As soon as he starts high school, he starts not behaving the way he's supposed to. I mean, we're talking about grades. Besides that, he was good. But, you know, the grades were kind of a little bit poor.
His father loved him. Both of his parents loved him. His father was also very big into gaming. And I think that gaming from his father, that passion his father had because he sat him on his lap when he was playing games, is really what drove into the passion to gaming to Shroud himself. Shroud is an FPS player, however, it's not the only thing that he plays. He also very much loves MMOs. But FPSs are definitely what drove Shroud's success and the person that he became today. One of the very first big games that Shroud ever got into before he went pro was CSGO Source. Eventually, he ended up dropping it because he felt that it has disappointed him in several ways when changes came. He wasn't always called Shroud though. Back in the day of CS Source, he was known as Eclipse. And he was known as Eclipse because he saw someone else's name which was very similar, Eclipse related, and he just took that. He thought it was a great name and he went. Eventually, he ended up changing the Shroud because whilst he was streaming, a lot of people thought that he might be sponsored by a team that had the same name or was affiliated in some way. Eventually, when looking up synonyms from Eclipse, he adopted the name Shroud. Even for someone like Shroud though, when he started, it was not easy. He started streaming for the very first time in 2011, and he had no viewers. He streamed for like 12 hours a day for 6 months and didn't really go anywhere. But he had a strive to succeed from watching Summit, one of the OGs from the streaming sphere. The inspiration that he got from him, seeing him at a few hundred viewers and climbing, is really what made him want to continue doing it. Eventually, he did end up growing up to 1,000 viewers, started for partner multiple times, and eventually succeeded. He almost quit. But while doing all of this, he had been in many different pro teams, and being in those pro teams was really one of the beginning things that gave Shroud a name for himself. put him on a stage. People saw who he was. They got to know him as a player. They got to see how he plays. They got to see the skill that he possessed. One of the first main teams that he ever joined was Xerxes. A friend came up, said, hey, do you want to be in this team? He tried out, he got in, but he was very worried at the time because they didn't end up finishing last in the season. It was rough on him, being in his first team and not doing all that well. Even though he personally in the season did well, the team overall wasn't. However, through his own personal skill, and after no longer being with the teams that he had been in his past, he eventually got a DM from an ex-team member asking if he wanted to join Complexity or Cloud9. And this is truly when the pro scene for Shroud took off. Cloud9 is a very large organization, a very successful organization, and now he was finally able to say that he was a pro player. He was traveling, he was going far, his parents were proud of him, his friends were ecstatic on his own success. They freaked out more than he did, and that's a really great feeling. He went pro for a long time, had many wins, has received prize money for those wins, and been a very successful teammate. Eventually, however, he did leave the pro scene, kind of focused entirely on streaming. Not sure if he was actually going to make it or not. If he didn't make it, he was going to go into somewhere in the industry, maybe with peripherals or something involving. He never wanted to really leave the industry, regardless of whether streaming was successful. It was extremely successful. Shroud is one of the biggest people on the platform, being number 25, as we can see, and has made quite a lot on it. However, he was not always with Twitch. Back in October of 2019, Shroud did end up leaving Twitch for Mixer. A big shakeup in the industry at the time, because a lot of people were not sure if this was the right decision. Was Mixer going to take off? Was it good enough? Why would they make these decisions? And it was scary, but financial security that he had from his own contract and the 8 figures that he was likely being paid led to him deciding to go there. Unfortunately, Mixer did fall through about a year later. It was going to be partnered out to Facebook Gaming, and instead he decided to take the payout of what he could and go on vacation and come back to stream on August 12th, 2020. When returning, there was a bit of surprise for Twitch, as Shroud has downed himself with a new goatee.
It's been a long time, okay? I'm out of the game, all right? I'm out of the game. Sorry, wrong glasses. Hold on. I'm an old man now. I have 2 pairs of glasses.
This is his return to his stream. He branched out and played a lot of different things. Obviously, he still has a great love for FPSs. But he did try new things like Rust RP, other MMOs coming out, like New World. I think one of the most surprising figures that Shroud has, being number 25 on the Twitch payout list, is that in actuality, he's not actually number 25. These payouts go back to 2019. In 2019, and for a year after, he wasn't on Twitch, so he wasn't getting any payouts. He was no longer a part of Twitch's team. So that means in the year and month that he was on Twitch, and these payouts have been released, that he reached 25. If he had been streaming on Twitch the entire time, he would easily be number 6. That's the impact that Shroud has on Twitch and how successful he is on the platform. Even taking off more than half the time, he beat almost every streamer on the platform. Passionate kid who loved games, strived hard, and became the best. Left his father in the dust when it came to skill, but was still very much loved.
With him because
Yeah, my relationship with him was great. It still is great. We just played a lot more games back then. Now we don't play because, well, he's not very good.
That's all I got for Shroud.